Some show up at Keeneland just to be beautiful, some for the burgoo. Me, it's because the best handicapping challenge on God's green earth is right here in Kentucky. Star horses come from Florida, California, and New York, Arkansas, and Louisiana, all to what undoubtedly is the greatest horse racing melting pot in America.
Into the stretch to Keeneland, and Flight Line just moves right by. Life is good.
Win here and you've done something. Love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. That's Keeneland. Now, let's get handicapping.
Welcome into the Friday night edition of the Keeneland Look Ahead. I'm Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now. Happy to be with you as we preview the Saturday card for April the 22nd. It'll be our third and final Saturday program of the spring meet. Of course, closing week is a Wednesday through Friday operation next week. So what's that make? 5 racing days left. We're 10 out of 15 down here, looking for a strong finish to the Keeneland spring meet. Boy, the fans sent it in today on that big $859,000 carryover pick six. The pool today reached $4.7 million. I thought there'd be at least $2 million in new money, more than double that. So hats off to the horse players out there who took it down, $21,000 on the $1 payoff for the pick six. So it wasn't quite as wild as some of the days that led to the carryovers, but it wasn't also just, punch out the chalk either. We saw Interstate Daydream go down. Cox was beaten in the 8th race on the turf with a favorite as well. Irad got beat with a favorite early in the sequence. So 3 chalks that a lot of people were leaning on, myself included, did not win in the sequence. It still paid $21,000 for $1. So a lot of people had good coverage, and hats off to those, again, who took down the pick six today. Congratulations to the Double Dog Dare Stakes winner today. That was Frost Point. And congratulations for rallying and winning on the main track. We actually saw 2 closers. I mean, real closers went on the card today. On the main, it was, we talked about the stakes race right there with Frost Point. But before that, Magical Loot made the magical meet for Ian Wilkes continue. Came from way off the pace in a sprint race, no less. The Double Dog Dare Stakes around 2 turns. So we had a sprint closer and a route closer win on the same card today. 10 days in, I mean, these were 2 of the deepest closers, if not the 2 deepest closers of the entire meet to win. So that might be a good sign. We had a little bit of weather come in partway through the card. Speed won early in the day on the main track, but we had a lot of small fields, big inordinate amount of scratches on the card early, so some short fields, and that's typically going to set up a speed situation. But maybe the track just shifted a little bit here with the cooler temperatures, a little more moisture in the air, and in the surface. Maybe that helped. We will see how it plays out on Saturday's card. So weather forecast looks a little bit better in terms of the wetness. It's supposed to be out of here with the rain tomorrow. Saturday, it looks like it will be dry for racing, but it's going to be cold. There are temperatures low 50s, so we're kind of back to early spring kind of temperatures after 80s, 85 earlier in the week. Maybe we get to 60 on Saturday, the max out for the forecast, but in the 50s to maybe 60 degrees. It's going to be a chilly day, but it should be a dry one and a good one for racing. And if the track's playing a little more fairly, then that's good for all of us, I think, as horse players. Oaklawn Handicap tomorrow. We'll take 2 of our top riders on the road again on Saturday. Luis Saez is heading to Hot Springs, Arkansas to ride Charge It for Todd Pletcher in the Oaklawn Handicap. Joel Rosario is on the road on Saturday as well. He's riding in the Oaklawn Handicap for Mike Stidham aboard Proxy. So those 2 big jocks, you take out Saez, you take out Rosario, and you think, who's going to have advantage? Well, you still have Tyler Gaffalione, you still have Irad Ortiz here. And if you saw the races today, Tyler won 4 of them on the card. So he's the hot rider. And again, with Saez out, with Rosario out, you could see on the 10-race card some serious dominance perhaps tomorrow on Saturday from Irad Ortiz and Tyler Gaffalione. Expect maybe they have a big card. And from a handicapping standpoint, I like the way the horses look for Flavian Pratt. I think he's got a shot to win a few on the card. He won 1 again here today and is having a good meet. So as far as the recap for today, that gets you up to speed with where we are 10 days into the meet as we go into the final 5. I want to give you a little Kentucky Derby update. We saw Race Kane on the track here in the morning yesterday for Ben Colebrook. Worked a slow 5/8, 103 and 4, slowest of 11. First work back for that one, so it's a disappointing effort in the Bluegrass Stakes. They're on to the Kentucky Derby, though. Next work for that one might be a little more serious and a little more important. Blazing Sevens, Chad Brown's 3rd place finish in the Bluegrass Stakes, worked this morning 48 and 3/5. That was 18th fastest of 83. You can check out both of those workout videos on Keeneland's YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out if you'd like to see those Kentucky Derby works. And next week, we'll have a lot more to recap in that area. There's going to be a lot of big Kentucky Derby workers today, tomorrow, Sunday, with some potential wet weather in Kentucky over the weekend, overnight, tonight, into tomorrow. Several trainers moved up their Kentucky Derby works to today, including Brad Cox and Todd Pletcher. Those horses working at Churchill Downs this morning, including some of the favorites for the Derby. Of course, Forte for Pletcher will be the Kentucky Derby favorite if he makes the starting gate. Tappet Trice, winner of the Toyota Bluegrass, also worked this morning in company at Churchill Downs. And also for Brad Cox, he worked his legion of runners towards this year's Kentucky Derby, including the runner-up, verifying the runner-up in the Bluegrass Stakes was working this morning. And Cox also had Angel of Empire and others working this morning. Angel of Empire, of course, very impressive on the back end of the Arkansas Derby. In fact, Angel of Empire, I'm kind of maybe right now leaning towards maybe making my top pick for the Derby. I'm in that mix. Forte, Angel of Empire, the horse from Japan, Dermo Sotogaki, I'm giving a lot of respect to. Want to kind of see that one train a little bit more before we make any decisions and see where the post-draw comes a week from Monday for the Kentucky Derby. So we still got time to figure that all out, but serious workouts 2 weeks out from the Derby are upon us right now this weekend. So fun time to check those out. Usually the final workout Derby weekend before that last workout, like say 7-8 days from now, that's usually just a maintenance move, not a whole lot of fireworks, if you will. So this is the weekend. If you want to try to pick out a horse who's really working strong for the Derby, it's a good time to check out all of the videos. We're going to get handicapping on this 10 race card now for Saturday. Regular post time, 1 o'clock Eastern for the 10 races at Keeneland, of course, on Saturday. We've got 2 stakes races on the program. We will have the older Colts and Geldings in action in the boy, I'm losing my mind here tonight. The Ben Ali Stakes, of course, that's race number 9, the Ben Ali. And then the Elkhorse is race number 8, which is the older turf runners. So the turf marathoners going in the Elkhorse. So those will be races 8 and 9 on the card. Let's see how this card shakes out for a 10-race program. Here's a look at the big picture tonight for the first time. Pick 5 opens in race number 1 as usual. We'll also have a pick 4 in race number 2 starting things out. Pick 6, again, we go with no carryover today. It was hit, 21,000 the payoff. That starts in race number 5. It'll also kick off the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. The low takeout $3 wager begins in the 5th. Late half of the card, the back half of the card, the late pick 5 starts in race number 6. We'll have the late pick 4 opening in the 7th. Then the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 races that wrap up will be races 8 and 10. Amongst those, one of the stakes races, the Elkhorse, aforementioned in race number 8. And then the Ben Ali will be race number 9. So we've got a chance maybe to make a little cash on this Sunday card. We'll try to do the best we can, picking out some winners and sharing the thoughts of our other public handicappers at Keeneland in just a moment in the Keeneland Selectors Box. But here are the 3 horses that I kind of need to have a good day to deliver the mail. In race number 3, I think we've got a long shot with a really good pedigree to run well here at Keeneland for a trainer who's known to pop long shots. So we'll tell you who that is when we get to race number 3. Looking forward to that one early in the card. You know, and sometimes when you're struggling with your handicapping, and no doubt about it, I'm absolutely struggling this meet. This is not like me at Keeneland. It's been a rough go, especially the last 4 days. If you've been following along, you probably know that. Hopefully you haven't been following too closely when it comes to all the suggested plays. But when you are in a slump, stick to the fundamentals. Go with what you know best. Work the fundamentals of handicapping. To me, the fundamentals of handicapping is trying to figure out how a race shape is going to play out and who's going to be advantaged or disadvantaged. And the track's playing a little bit fair now. Maybe you can get a closer from off the pace in a race that has a lot of speed. Go with the fundamentals. And I think there's a solid fundamental lone speed play coming up in race number 5. And that's why I'm going to make it one of my key plays. 5th race, I think we've got a horse who's going to make the front and take him gate to wire on the turf course to start the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. So get back to the fundamentals. Lone speed is dangerous indeed. One of the absolute hallmarks of handicapping. And then in race number 10, we're going to try to catch a hot trainer. If you've been watching Phil D'Amato, another winner today from California here at Keeneland. Pretty much everything he sent east from Southern California has been right on the mark. He's got another one in a great power post. We've seen a couple power post winners in those 3, 4, 5 holes in the turf sprint. Another one today. Well drawn, Phil D'Amato in the last race from a power post. A lot to like there as we wrap things up in race number 10. Let's get to the handicapping as we go to race number 1 on this 10 race card on Saturday at Keeneland. We've got She's Gone to Wild, top pick for myself and Tom. High Speed, the top pick for Gabby Gaudet and Kim Nelson. And Lucy's Looking Left, another one you got to watch here. So really the 5, the 4, and the 1 are picked pretty much straight across. And in a lot of selections, occupy all 3 spots. So kind of a 3-horse affair, if you will, in this opening race. I ended up going with She's Gone to Wild as the top pick in here. I like that little bit of cutback when we're talking 6.5 furlongs. Horse is shortening out of those 2-turn races. In the 6.5, seem to have some success. Maybe not so much down here at the $16,000 lower claiming level. This is a rather classy filly. She's not a $16,000 claimer. I think her race 2 starts back where she ran it at Fairgrounds in an optional claiming, made the lead that day, going a mile. I think that race run back here would win this. Last time out took on much tougher competition in Allowance Company at Fairgrounds. So I've got 5. She's Gone Wild. Not wild about anybody in here. The 4, Lucy's Looking Left, certainly could be a part of it. This horse should be near the front, I think, with the addition of blinkers. Coming in from Hawthorne, where, you generally get some speed at Hawthorne. So if you can't make the lead at Hawthorne, that doesn't mean you can't make the lead here going 16,000 level in a 6.5 furlong race. So I think the 4, Lucy's Looking Left, is going to be somewhere in that pace mix. We've got 3 of them on top that we're all kind of trading around jabs on with who we think it should be. I think if you're playing a multi-race wagers, you want to look at all 3 of them, the 5, the 4, and the 1. Not a race I'm going to get too invested in intra-race, though, because I don't think we're looking at a big price on the 5, and I really don't have a strong opinion there. I think, it's a kind of a default pick, if you will, the best of the bunch, and we'll take our chances there. But 3 deep for me to start in the early pick 5. Second race on the card, as you see here on the big picture, we'll start the early pick 4. Starter Allowance Company in this race, and there's not a lot of early pace to it. And there's not a lot of good Keeneland form. I like the horse for courses and the horses with the good pedigrees to run here at Keeneland. There's just not much to go by in this race in terms of horses who have run here. The field has 8 combined starts at Keeneland, no in-the-money finishes. 8, 0 wins, 0 seconds, 0 thirds. So maybe look for a horse who, has run okay at Keeneland, or maybe just a completely new, fresh face. I ended up going to the 1 in here, Ghostly Girl. This is another one where, I think she gets a nice pace setup. I think she's going to sit second in this race. The speed looks like the 4 deck of cards. I think the 1 can sit just off. And again, we're going in fundamental handicapping. How do you think this race is going to set up? The 4 goes to the front here, I think, and Ghostly Girl can sit second. Now, the caveat is she's a 3-year-old filly taking on older horses, so there is some concern about that. But at Oaklawn last time out in Starter Company, she did take on older horses there as well and ran a very good second. I think as she runs that race back, getting 7 pounds, she gets a beautiful weight allowance here, carries 118 where the older horses have to carry 125. I think Ghostly Girl can get a nice trip under Brian Hernandez. Kenny McPeak's got this one in a good spot with the rail draw. If this horse can just kind of sit second, save some ground with deck of cards, I think it's a good trip to have. So I'm going to go up the filly in here, who's getting the 7-pound weight allowance. I'll take that free weight. I know I need it because you're looking at a 3-year-old filly against older horses. I don't think this field's very strong, though, so this is why I end up with a 3-year-old filly. As you've seen Wednesday, Thursday, and some of the races, I've gone against the 3-year-old fillies going against elders because I frankly thought there were better options. In this race, I don't think there are. Ghostly Girl, top pick for me, Gabby, and Kim. Second choice for Tom and Scott. They've got deck of cards. So deck of cards is the speed. The 1 is sitting first over. That's the race. To me, it's one of those 2. Deck of cards either goes wire to wire or Ghostly Girl punches past her. That's the way I look at race number 2. So if you're starting the early pick 4, the pick 5 second leg, I think you're looking at a 2 deep situation, and the handicappers in the box agree there. I don't think you want to go more than 2 deep. If you have a strong opinion between the 1 and the 4, singling either one of those is always the best way to go if you have a strong opinion, because then you can play the ticket for half as much. You're not using 2 combinations in one of these legs and doubling the cost. Or you can play the ticket for twice as much. Instead of it costing $20 for 50 cents, it would only cost 10. So you play it for the whole buck, and then you still spend the $20 you have budgeted, but you hit it twice when you're right. So that's the approach. If you can narrow between the 1 Ghostly Girl and the 4 deck of cards, I suggest you do it. For me, I get the lean to the 1 in here. I'll take those 7 pounds. I like the better trip here. And her last race was pretty good. Before that, she ran against Southlawn, who came back and won the Fairgrounds Oaks. So that's, far and away different than this starter allowance group. So I think Ghostly Girl fits pretty good in here. I'll take the shot with her. And Brian Hernandez in the saddle, riding pretty good here at the current meet. Third race on the program as we go back to the handicappers selectors box is a maiden claimer going 7 furlongs. And this is where I have one of my early key plays on the card. As you see in race number 3, the key play is a Bomb Barn and a pedigree price. Well, the Bomb Barn is Keith DeSormo. He's been known over the years to throw in some big prices. He had a big price horse win the Rebel Stakes, a Confidence Game, who's now going to the Kentucky Derby. I've struck a nerve at 100-1 plus. Keith DeSormo is known for popping some prices. Texas Red in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile a few years back. He can get a long shot in there, puts horses in spots where people don't play his horses, then they wake up, and he's not a barn that takes a lot of action, is what I'm saying, and he can get one in. Bluegrass Loot is the 11 horse in here, and that's my long shot play. 15-20-1 here, I think, possibility. This horse comes off a 7th place finish at Fairgrounds. But the reason I like this horse, not just because Keith DeSormo, that's the side factor. The real factor why I like this horse is because the sire Midnight Loot. He is almost a blind bet for me here at Keeneland, especially the longer they go. 7 furlongs, he's still effective. 2 turns, he's really effective. But Midnight Loots win 20% here at Keeneland. That's a tremendous sire rating and a flat bet profit when you bet horses sired by Midnight Loot with a pretty significant number of starters. So I'm going with the 11 Bluegrass Loot, and I think we'll take this one for a price play early on the card. Also in this race, I think you want to watch the 1 Off the Cuff, but this is a horse who's already had 7 tries trying to take the speed all the way from the rail. And the other one in here I have is the 3 Lucky Smile, who's just, it's kind of a fire sale for Lucky Smile. I mean, this is a tap it lucky copy colt that if it was sold for $600,000, $700,000, or $700,000-$800,000, but was a homebred, and now they're giving up on this horse in for $30,000, claiming debuted in a maiden claimer back in September. So this horse did not live up to the pedigree for sure, but it's still, a good barn. And Mike Tomlinson, who claimed this horse off Todd Pletcher last year. Tomlinson does good later in the meet here at Keeneland. So good post position, a barn, some classy pedigree. I gave the 3 Lucky Smile a little bit of a look in here, but the pedigree play for me and the value play is Bluegrass Loot. Nobody else has the 11 in their picks, so I love that. I'm on the island. And does this race look like it's just going to set up for one horse when you look across? The 1 Off the Cuff, the 3 Lucky Smile, the 11 Bluegrass Loot, the 8 Kislavadis, and I blew that name, and the 14 Mr. Kitty picked for Kim Nelson. 5 handicappers, 5 different picks. That tells you nobody has a strong feel for this race. So if we got a chance for a long shot winner in here, why not keep the DeSormo? Why not with a great pedigree to run here at Keeneland with the 11 Bluegrass Loot, one of my early key plays on the card. Let's go next to race number 4. We'll just keep it right here with the handicapper selectors box and go across this is another one where there's not a lot of agreement here. Market Analysis is probably the most logical horse in the race because you see Scott's got him on top, Market Analysis for Kim, and everybody's got Market Analysis somewhere in the mix. But as far as top picks in here, the 1 Gunnet, the 2 Silk Trade for me, the 3 Legal Deal, and the 4 Market Analysis. It's a 7-horse field, and the 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have a top selection amongst the 5 handicappers. So again, this is a race where you're not looking at any kind of sort of standout favorite in here. I went with Silk Trade. I ran Ortiz riding for Norm Cassie. This is won by Into Mischief, the top dirt pedigree sire at Keeneland. This horse ran a poor race back in November of 22 here at Keeneland. But again, when you're by Into Mischief, I'm going to give you a little bit of a mulligan and a second chance to see if Silk Trade doesn't like the track here. Big workout in April before leaving Oaklawn Park and coming up here. The Oaklawn horses are running pretty darn well at this meet. So I'm going to overlook the 1 really bad effort here at Keeneland by Silk Trade. Looking for to bounce back. You're probably getting an underlay, though, with Irad Ortiz riding. And, he gets covered pretty strongly. The 4 Market Analysis for Robertina Diodoro comes off a win in Canada and Stakes Company last time. Last year was running in Stakes at Oaklawn Park. We haven't seen Market Analysis since July. We did see 3 horses, I believe, on today's card win in their first starts of 2023. So you can come off a long layoff and win here at Keeneland. It certainly happens. Market Analysis has the kind of record over the last 2 years you like to see. 14 starts, 6 wins. So if he comes back in any kind of form like he was in 21 or 22, you have to think Market Analysis is a factor in this particular race. 2 and 4, the ones I like in here. Gunnet's a horse who's tremendous pedigree. but he's just never lived up to it. I thought Gunnett was a major stakes horse from the early part in his career. Steve Asmussen, by tapping out of Miss Bessie Lou, $2.6 million. This is a, absolutely regal blue blood 7-year-old, though, who's 3 for 30 at this point. And when you're 3 for 30, your pedigree doesn't matter anymore. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Pedigree's for when you're like trying something new that you've never done before. You're young, you're inexperienced. Maybe you're switching surfaces, you're coming to a track, that sort of thing. Gunnett's run twice here at Keeneland already. Didn't do anything in those 2 starts. Back to, 7 furlong distance is normal. So it's just a factoid and a talking point that you were a $2.6 million sale price when you're 3 for 30 at age 7. But I don't think Gunnett has any sort of class or edge over this particular field. So I would say the 2 and the 4, the 2 ways to go in here. Silk Trade, Market Analysis. I think you can get by with those 2 in race number 4, even though there's a little discrepancy across our selectors box. I think we'll narrow that one down a little bit closer. Let's go next to race number 5 on the card, because we've got some action starting here in the pick 6. We also have the Keeneland Turf pick 3 starting, and this is where my second key play on the card comes in race number 5. This is where I think there's potential lone speed. There's really nothing in this race to the inside that wants to go anywhere near the front. And when you get out to number 7, My Risky Affair, I think Flavien Prat can name his margin if he wants to go to the front in this race. There's really not much speed in here. We know My Risky Affair likes it at Keeneland, ran a good second here in Maiden Company back in April, the spring meet last year. That was from far off the pace, but the running style in the last couple races has shown a lot more early interest. I know the fractions weren't much, but at least shows the horse can go out, set a cadence, and maintain it. I think that My Risky Affair, when he breaks from, or she breaks from the starting gate, if Pratt doesn't put her on the lead, I mean, we need to talk to him after the race and ask why. There's really no other speed in this race. Maybe the 4, Lovely Princess, will try to show a little bit of speed from way back when this horse was younger, but in recent starts hasn't been going to the front and hasn't raced since November. So Lovely Princess will be the only other horse I think that can warm the 7 up early. And you see Lovely Princess, the pick for Tom and Scott. I've got My Risky Affair. Kim's got My Risky Affair. Miss Ensemble is the pick for Gabby Gaudet in here. She has not run since the American Oaks back in December. She came over to the U.S. to the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf and then stayed here with Brendan Walsh. Good day for Brendan Walsh. He won a couple on the card today. So Miss Ensemble was not a shock in this particular race. She's just another one who doesn't have a lot of early speed about her, and I think she'll be in the mix. But I'm taking My Risky Affair, and really I think anything 2-1 or more is fine on this one as the play of the day, and I think you'll get more than that. Christophe Clement, we know he's an excellent turf trainer, but the 4 horses he's run so far at this meet have all finished off the board. He hasn't been firing with his Keeneland horses so far this year, but I'm taking my chance with My Risky Affair because, like I said, when you're in a slump, and I'm in a slump, I admit that for sure, you get to the basics. And if you're not willing to bet lone speed for a top jockey like Pratt, a top trainer like Christophe Clement, then what are you doing? I mean, why are you trying to just reinvent the wheel? So lone speed, and if I can get 2-1 or so on My Risky Affair, I'd be more than happy to take that. A Beach Nut Trophy one, I think, for Saffie Joseph that can be part of the mix for the exotic. So I've got that race 7 over the 8, 3, and 4. One of my key plays of the day. We'll try to get the 7 home in here and maybe some exactas with the other horses working underneath of the lone speed horse. Let's go to the back half of the card now as we start race number 6 and let you know this is where the late pick 5 will begin. Late pick 5 races, 5 through 10 on this card. Starts with a maiden special weight 6.5. These are 3-year-old maidens and a lot of first-time starters to deal with in this race. The horses who have run okay, but nothing outstanding that jumps off the page. Billy Jack has an okay third at Fairgrounds in the career debut. Cigarette Boats had a couple shots already, beaten and even money once at Churchill. Has a couple narrow second and third place finishes for Mike Maker. So there's nothing wrong with Cigarette Boat, but there's nothing that you have to just dive into. So I think this is a race where first-time starters can have some success, and first-time starters do okay in these 3-year-old races going this short, 6.5 furlongs. The longer they go, the more I think you want to lean towards the horses who have experience. But I think you can get a first or home in a race like this. I'm going to take probably one of the longer shots of the first-time starters, and I'm on the island here. Nobody else has taken. Number 3, De La Cal. De La Cal has a almost bullet workout from the gate back on March 31st. Street Sense, the sire, is having a really good meet. 3-4 winners already at the meet. one of the top sires we've seen here at Keeneland this season. Tecalita, the runner-up, or the dam, I should say, was a really good 7 furlong type filly for Mike Matz back in her racing day. So I think it's a really good pedigree for this extended sprint at 6.5 furlongs. I know Rusty Arnold doesn't win a ton of races with the first-time starters, but he's kind of winning more than he used to. And we could see Rusty pop with a rookie. He's had a good meet with a couple winners already, considering he only came into the meet with 3 winners on the year down at Gulfstream, that he's popped 2 here in the first 10 days of the meet. Tells you that he's got some horses ready to run. So De La Calle, the 3, is going to be my pick in here. Let's see if we can't get Rusty Arnold with a first-time starter here at a fair price. Other rookies in this race, I think Class Actor is going to get bet hard for Brad Cox. This is a Ghost Sapper $230,000 purchase at the Keeneland September sale. A bullet workout coming into this, but the works are kind of steady underneath that last bullet work at Keeneland. And that was a bullet, but it was only 6 running that morning, April 17th, and 101 breezing, not exactly lighting the track on fire. So I think Class Actor could be okay in here, but I don't think you have to take any sort of short price on that. Of the horses who have run, Billy Jack's third at Fairgrounds in the career debut, promoted the second on disqualifications. The best race on paper of any of the horses who have run. A little win early kind of pedigree there. C.S. Royce on the bottom side was able to do some decent stuff, I believe, at the beginning of her racing career, if I remember correctly. So Billy Jack wouldn't be any big surprise in here, but I think you can go very deep in this race. Let's see. Across the way, we've got Mr. Keating, the 4's getting some top picks. Norm Cassie's horse. Gabby's picking Norm's horse on top. She doesn't do that often. So this could be a first-time starter for the Mary Lou Whitney stables. Bullet work March 17th at Fairgrounds. That's been saved to run here at Keeneland. The fact that, Gabby Gaudet is picking her husband's horse with a first-time starter, I think that's pretty significant there. They must like the horse, and she's straight up and honest about these sort of things. So I would give Mr. Keating a big shot in here. So 3, 7, 6, 1, 4. I mean, there are a lot of different options you can go. Soliveo is a horse who looks good on paper for the first career start. Cherie DeVoe usually doesn't crank them up too much, but $685,000 Ocala by here with good workouts on the tab. The barn only wins 5% first time, so I would think maybe next time for Soliveo. That might be a horse that you want to look at the 8 down the line a little bit more, but a lot of good options for you in race number 6. Be sure to watch the Today at Keeneland program tomorrow morning at 11:30 on Saturdays. They preview the card because they'll have a Clocker report and give you a little more inside information. I think we might hear more from Gabby and maybe even a Clocker report on the 4, Mr. Keating, in race number 6, and see if any of these horses have caught the eyes of the Clockers. 7th race on the card next up. That's going to start the late pick 4, and this is an allowance race here in race number 7. Just a field of 7. This should be one of the shortest prices on the entire card. I really can't see how we're not going to be looking at something like 3 to 5 on number 7, Socially Selective. She's going to be the top pick for a lot of the handicappers, 4 of the 5. Tom Leach is going to go with Unsung Melody for the upset here of Socially Selective. And a lot of people have the 2 in the mix. So it's 7-2 or 2-7 pretty much the only way you can shake this allowance down. Why is Socially Selective so hot? Well, 7-length winner at Saratoga last year. In the comeback race, ran in the Purple Martin Stakes at Oaklawn and ran second, a clear second in that race behind Key of Life. Key of Life came back here and won the Beaumont Stakes for Brad Cox, and she's a really good sprinter. Socially Selective, second best to her. Now she gets Irad Ortiz to ride. Bill Mott just won the stakes race today on the card. I would suspect that Socially Selective is going to be very, very hard to beat. Unsung Melody is my second choice in here, and this is Tom Leach's upset pick. And Tom's had some success when he's been on the island here at this meet. This horse was second to Punch Bowl at Oaklawn back in February. Of course, we've seen Punch Bowl come and run a very good second in the Ashland Stakes. She ran a good race here in the Ashland. High-quality filly heading towards the Kentucky Oaks, perhaps, if she can get in the field for Brad Cox. So Unsung Melody's got some pretty good running lines as well. After she got away from Punch Bowl, she punched her ticket through the maiden ranks in her very next start, going wire to wire. Expect some speed down on the inside from Unsung Melody. And then on the outside, I think you're probably looking Socially Selective, maybe just sitting right off of her, maybe sitting second. I could see Unsung Melody going to the front, Socially Selective sitting in the 2 path. And it's one of those either-or situations, again, where one of those 2 likely wins the race. But I think Socially Selective is the standout here. A single late in the day, and as it starts the late pick 4 in race number 7, I think you just take that one. Socially Selective, 7 in the 7th for me. Let's go to the 8th race on the card, and we get the return of last year's Elkhorn winner, that being Channel Maker, former champion turf horse here in the U.S. Let's go back and look at his win a year ago.
Here's Channel Maker with Tiberius Mercurius moving up on either side of two Emmys, who's now third. Bema's Boy has to swing to the outside fourth. Another Mystery moves on the extreme outside from fifth. Bama Breeze is running from sixth toward the inside. Channel Maker with the lead. Here comes Bama Breeze up the rail. Here is Bema's Boy with another Mystery, but they've all got to catch Channel Maker. And Channel Maker hangs tough. Channel Maker by 2. The champ, Channel Maker, to win the Elkhorn for Luis Saez. 2 minutes, 27.1 seconds. A stakes record.
So at age 8, Channel Maker still had the wheels to win the Elkhorn. Does he at age 9? That's the question here as we get to the 8th race on the card on Saturday. My suspicion, he's just 1 for 6 since that win in the Elkhorn. Then maybe some of the tread on the tires is wearing a little thin. I will be surprised if he comes back and wins this race for a second consecutive year. But again, Bill Mott, stakes winner today in the Double Dog Dare Stakes. His horses are running very well at the meet. He's bringing them in ready to go. This horse has been training at Payson Park in Florida all winter. You get legged up and fit training at Payson Park, no question about that. So Channel Maker will come off the January to April layoff. Been off about 3 months since running in the WL McKnight down there at Gulfstream. 1.5 miles for him at his advanced stage. I just have to prefer others, as they say in the handicapping world. Value Engineering for me is the horse in here. Let's see what the other handicappers have. I think Mike Maker does, just a great job in this race. He's won the Elkhorn a couple times in the last few years. Value Engineering for Maker, a horse that came to his barn 3 starts back, and he's been almost bulletproof since then. He won the Allen Jerkins, second in the McKnight, beating a length, and then won the McDermott the last time out at Gulfstream Park. Horses coming out of races in Florida, 1 3/8. That's kind of the profile here of going long. 1 3/8, 1.5 miles in the prep. Has been very successful in the Elkhorn Stakes. So I'm in on Value Engineering, as is Tom Leach in here. Channel Maker, the veteran, Gabby and Kim are going back to him. And then another mystery, top pick in here for Scott. Another mystery is a horse I think I picked in the race here last year. Ran second, beating a length. I love those Dynaformer Lord at War running lines, pedigree lines on another mystery, especially when you're going 1.5 miles on the grass. So I've got another mystery as my second choice in here. But I think Value Engineering, it all adds up. Again, the Dynaformers in the pedigree there. First time over the curve course here at Keeneland. But again, the Dynaformers going long on the grass here have been a long-standing good angle for me. This horse has just been so much better since moving to the Maker barn. Gaffley-owned rides. Lot to like. Inside post position should save ground on the 3 turns of the 1.5 miles here. The X factor is Hal Street. Not sure what we're going to get from Hal Street, but very visually impressive. If you like to go back and watch race replays, Hal Street last time at Gulfstream going 1 3/8 was absolutely just reaching out to the wire and wanting more. That was an impressive effort for this Jorge Abreu trainee. Pedigree, by honor code out of a Street Sense mare. You wouldn't necessarily think 1.5 miles on turf, but you can certainly get some distance with that pedigree. And the last one was very good. No pace help at all down at Gulfstream and just blew him away late in an impressive effort. Irad Ortiz not riding this one. He's going to jump off to end up on highest honors for Chad Brown. You understand that. But Flavian Pratt picks up the call on House Street, and you have to respect that. Highest honors, we mentioned that one. 3rd in the Sycamore last year and 3rd in the fall meet. Here, when Gaffleone was riding, he will pick up Irad Ortiz, who's been riding him of late. He was against Value Engineering last time out at Gulfstream. Beaten favorite that day. We'll see if Chad Brown and Highest Honors can turn the tables on Value Engineering. But I like the post draw for Value Engineering. I like the pedigree. A lot to like here. I'm pretty solidly behind the 2 here in the stakes race. Channel Maker would surprise me. But look, I've been wrong more than I've been right this meet. And that's no knock. Gabby and Kim have had a better meet handicapping than I have. So the fact that I'm off Channel Maker and they're on might just be the kind of jinx that will put Channel Maker into the winner's circle. He's the horse that is the defending champ. We'll see how it turns out. Now, coming up in the 9th race, we've got the Ben Ally Stakes, grade 3 here, $300,000. And a horse who I think is going to get a good trip in here is the morning line favorite, Skippy Longstocking. I'm surprised I'm the only one picking him on top. But his last race in the Challenger at Tampa Bay Downs, which has been a very key prep for this Ben Ally in the last couple years, was mighty impressive.
Skippy Longstocking right up alongside of Trademark, and those two by the 5/16 pole. Surly Furious gets room down on the inside and goes by Tax to come up and challenge as Skippy Longstocking goes to the front. Surly Furious, the new danger toward the inside. Tax swings out from third. The Reds stalled out a touch on the far outside, trying to rally up toward the inside. His Business Model still has 3 or 4 lengths to find. Surly Furious hits the front. Skippy Longstocking right back at him. Tax down the outside, and Business Model continues to make up ground down at the fence. 16th to go. Skippy Longstocking in front now. Surly Furious back to second along with Tax. Skippy Longstocking going to win the Challenger, going away by 3.5 in the end.
I like the way he was reaching out at the end of that race, because a lot of times at Tampa Bay Downs, you'll see horses really labor coming down the stretch, and they're not going to visually look good over that surface. Skippy Longstocking was still reaching out at the end of the Challenger Stakes. I think it sets him up nicely for the mile and an eighth. He's the morning line favorite, but my spidey senses tell me here that we might get a better price than what the morning line's suggesting, because 5 different handicappers have 5 different horses picked on top in the Ben Ally. The 1, the 2, the 4, the 5, and the 6 all get a shot on top from the public handicappers. So Skippy Longstocking might be like a 3-1 favorite in this race, in a wide open field. I would take 3-1 for sure. Not a bad price at all there. And of course, value engineering in the previous race, socially selective. You're starting to look at some pick 3s, pick 4s, and trying to pair these horses up late in the card. If we're getting to the end of the card and we've got one of our key plays still left, we're going to try to get to the 10th race then in the multi-race wagers with number 3, Beer Can Man. This one comes from California for trainer Phil D'Amato, and everything Phil D'Amato has brought here from Southern California has been awfully good. Now, Beer Can Man has not been out since February of 22. It's been over a year on the sidelines. But this is a horse who can get fit, I think, off just the works. He's been working at Los Al on the dirt, away from all the hubbub at Santa Anita, and I think he'll be plenty fit in here to run 5.5 furlongs on the turf. It's not a stamina game; it's a sharp game, and a horse coming off a long layoff can be very sharp. As you can see, we're all on the same thought process here. To the right of the screen, Beer Can Man, top pick for 4 of us. Scott's not using him. He's got a whole different set of considerations in there with the 7, the 8, and the 2. So Scott's kind of on the island there. Angus, then his top pick, has run once since 2021. That was a good effort in the Colonel Power Stakes in February at Fairgrounds. So some lightly raced horses. But again, we're just looking for brilliance here at 5.5. We're not looking for stamina and fitness. I think Beer Can Man fits that bill. And I'll tell you what, I'm surprised No Balls is not picked by anybody of significance. Only 2 of us have him in the top 2 and 1 in the top 3. I thought somebody would have this horse on top. This is a brilliantly fast horse. Larry Ravelli, Geraldo Corrales teaming up here. Speed trainer, speed jockey, speed horse. No Balls is going to get the lead in this race. I don't care who's running against him. He will have the lead turning for home. That's just his MO. Some others that might want to chase. Nobody listens on the outside. Just might. Even Beer Can Man likes to sit just a little bit off of it. They're not going to run with No Balls early. That horse is going to turn for home with the lead. I'll be shocked if he's not. And I think you got to have him in the mix there. But Beer Can Man, the way the Phil D'Amato horses are all just getting there, they're running down their opponents. Like there have been some narrow finishes at the finish, but they're coming at the end. They're attacking through the stretch and getting up at the wire and running with strength. All 3 of his winners at the meet have almost been carbon copies, looking the way they ran stylistically. I can see Beer Can Man in this exact same deal, like those other D'Amato horses, a length and a half, 2 lengths off the lead, turning for home and just wearing down the speed. That's been the MO. I think I'll wear down No Balls in here. 3-6 for me in this race. Does not hurt at all that Beer Can Man is in a good power post. Post 3, 4, and 5. I like those post positions in these big field turf sprints. We had a winner today from the power post as well. A couple of them at the current meet. So that'll wrap up our handicapping for this Saturday card. We will rejoin you on Saturday night to look ahead to the Sunday program at Keeneland. It'll be the final Sunday action. Day 11 of the meet. But first up, we've got day 10, 2 stakes races on Saturday, and a lot to look forward to. A reminder, we're supposed to have dry weather tomorrow. The rain from overnight or tonight and overnight should be cleared up by tomorrow, according to the forecasters. Temps in the 50s to 60 degree range. On Saturday, it'll cool down. Let's see how the track plays. Let's see how the winds blow and that sort of thing like that, and get a sense of the card early on. But should be a lot of fun tomorrow. 11:30 a.m. Eastern, as it is every racing day. Check out the Keeneland Today show. You can follow that on YouTube on the Keeneland website. If you're local in Lexington, you can catch it on the old television as well. So a lot to look forward to tomorrow at Keeneland. Should be a great day. Reminder, out of town tomorrow, Luis Saez is going to Oakland the ride, and the other pilot we have on the road is Joel Rosario. They're both riding in the Oakland Handicap tomorrow. So no Saez, no Rosario. Expect a big day. We're looking at Flavian Pratt having a good day tomorrow. We're looking for Irad Ortiz and, of course, Tyler Gaffleone, who was a 4-win winner today. He could be piling on more tomorrow. That's going to wrap it up. We will talk to you tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody.